Hi, I'm Antara Bhide and I'm a theatre writer, director and actor. And my pronouns are she, they.
Hi, I'm Priyakanta Laishram, an actor, an independent film director, film producer, screenwriter, and film editor from Manipur, and my preferred pronouns are he and him. Who was your biggest support when you were starting out?
My biggest support all my life has been my mother. She was there to support me no matter what I chose to do in life. She was there throughout for me, throughout the graduation period to support me, to make sure I was happy with what I was doing. And she really boosted my confidence whenever I wanted to do a play, whenever I wanted to write something for someone. She always encouraged me. And when I finally decided to go for masters in theater, she was there. She came with me to all the interviews and to support me, to cheer me up. And
That's
even
so
today,
cool.
she doesn't miss a single play of mine. If she's not there for the first show, she'll come for the second show. So yeah.
For me, I would say when I started out, even my mom used to support me a lot, including my dad. But unfortunately, my mom passed away in 2016. After that, my dad got remarried, and my family has kind of become dysfunctional. We kind of lost a connection with our father, my sister and I. So I would say, ever since the time I realized my sexuality, ever since the time I come out, or ever since I moved to Bombay or Chandigarh, my sister has been my greatest support till now. Like, she understands things. I don't even have to say a true word. She understands everything, and she has been there for me throughout.
Theatre and film are both fields in which you have to work with a group of people to bring your creative vision to life. What is the most important part of working as a crew?
I think the most important part of working as a crew is to have empathy towards each and every member in your team, because I think as human beings we lack empathy in today's digital world a lot. Sometimes, I work in Manipur, like I work in regional films in Manipur, and so, most often, like it happens, like people don't coordinate each other in the film crew and stuff. And I always wanted, like, काश हमारे साथ भी यार ऐसे cooperative team या कुछ होता, तो how nice it would have been. So I think having empathy and understanding towards each and every team member, I think that matters the most for me.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Without that, you cannot function as a crew.
Yeah.
It becomes a very convoluted place of work. And at the same time, I feel like everyone's thoughts and vision have to be aligned.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the director is thinking, if you don't know the vision, then you can't. And yeah, at the same time, empathy.
What is one piece of work that you're really proud of, and why?
So a year and a half ago, I was working at a B.Ed college, which is a college of education. So there are teacher trainees there. And I taught theatre to them. I worked with them about around how to work with children in using theatre for classroom drama, and how to integrate basically drama into teaching. So during that time, World Theatre Day came up in March. So the students said to me, "Ma'am, let's do something. Let's celebrate World Theatre Day." So I said, "Okay, I'll write a script. I'll write a script that maybe you all can take ahead in your schools when you go to work." And that script is called Ek Zaruri Kagaz. So that script is basically about a piece of paper that wants to become the most important piece of paper in the world. Okay, and it's the journey of that paper in time and space. So that paper travels in time and space to become the most important piece of paper.
How creative are you?
So that paper travels first. The paper goes to Martin Luther King Jr., who wrote a letter from the jail, Birmingham jail, to the masses. So that way, that paper becomes the most important in that era. Then the paper travels to Savitribai Phule's period, and then he interacts with Savitribai Phule and Savitribai, and he realizes that he can play a very small role in that entire movement, and then he still becomes the most important piece of paper. Basically, the paper travels, and this is not this wasn't a play where you use a lot of costumes or makeup or set, nothing. It was just a chorus based play, and I'm very proud that we did that, and the students are, even today, they are active in the field of theatre because of that play, I feel.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah.
For me, I would say one piece of work that I'm really proud of would be the film that I just made,
Yeah.
Oneness. It's like the first gay theme film of Manipur. Growing up in Manipur, I never heard the terms like gay, lesbian, or queer. We had very limited understanding of transgender community because transgender people were seen as costume designers, as makeup artists, and also as performers, as actor in this theater form called Sumang Lila in Manipur. So we just had a very limited understanding about transgender. But I never heard, like I said, I never heard the words gay, lesbian, or queer. I felt so left out, and I always felt the need of queer literature, queer movies, like, because I didn't have anybody to look up to, and I was there all alone because in my schools I had no queer friends. I was all alone. So being a filmmaker, I thought like I have this medium called cinema that I can used to bring out the voices that have been suppressed by the mainstream media and by the society. So I felt the need of making queer films, and Oneness being the first gay theme film. I had went through a lot, like the films has went through a lot of trials and tribulations. It was banned in Manipur, and the production process took like around 2 years.
Is this a feature film or a...
It's a feature film. It's my debut feature film.
Wow.
Earlier I used to make short films, and this is my feature film.
Kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
Really proud of you. Have you ever felt like you had to work harder to prove yourself?
I felt that a lot of times. Also, the kind of content I make, starting from my short films, like when I started out, I used to make children films with mobile phone. Like I said, it had a stronger kid vibe. My filmmaking has like two phases. One, the mobile phone filmmaking phase, and my second phase of filmmaking started in 2015 when I made a short film on transgender called It's Not My Choice. It was hugely inspired by a friend of mine from Chandigarh. He was effeminate, and he was being shunned by his family for being effeminate, and I started out with that film, and ever since then I met so many short films like Who Said Boys Can't Wear Makeup. It's like an initiative video, like it talks about the gender neutral fashion, why boys can't wear makeup, why is there stereotypes and all. And then I met this film called The Foul Truth, which is based on child sexual abuse, like male rape. The film is based on that, and recently I met Oneness. So the kind of content I create is very new and very alien to for the audience in Manipur. So many times I got a lot of calls from many civil organizations. They kept telling me like, you're going to be banned, your film is going to be banned if you don't change this, or why are you making such film on such taboo topics? Our society being a conservative one, you just can't bring out such topic out in the public. And also I think I had to work a lot harder being a queer filmmaker also, and also making contents that are different from others. So I think,
As a woman, I think all women would agree that they do have to work harder to prove themselves. It's a given. Being a queer actor, I do prefer writing and direction, but that's now, okay? Because I've realized that as a queer actor, I am never going to be there in the mainstream, theater or film, where you require certain kinds of looks and certain kinds of personality that, there are no queer characters. There are no enough queer characters yet in film, let alone theater. In theater, there are very, very, very few characters. So now as a writer-director, I am focused on creating theater spaces and theater plots where the gender doesn't matter much, So like I told you about that Ek Zaruri Kagaz, that play, there is no gender in that play. No one has a gender other than those a few characters. Currently I'm working on a production called Ek Chutkula, which is a clowning play. Again, there is no gender. So I'm trying to, at least for my students or at least for the other younger generation that I work with, I'm trying to make sure that, the boundaries that I had to face are not, repeated. But even then, I still feel like we have a lot of restrictions as queer artists or as female artists in terms of hard work. we have to be outstanding. We have to outshine. Otherwise, we are not important.
Otherwise, we are not visible.
Yeah. Otherwise, we are not. That's not the same for everyone. For privileged male directors, or even in Hollywood, white male actor directors, for them things are easier. Even if they do a moderate average job, it's okay. But for women, for queers, we do have to, be ultra visible. Otherwise, we are not important. I don't know how to tackle that. I don't know how we are going to deal with that.
But we are dealing with that.
Yeah, we're dealing with that.
And we still have
right
a long way to go, I guess. And we are also responsible for ourselves, because if nobody cares, then we have to take care of us. And like what you are doing and what I'm doing, like we are now responsible to bring out more nuanced and authentic queer stories. And yeah. How do you deal with a creative block?
I try to take a break when I find myself in such a tricky situation. I understand that it's been too overwhelming for me. It's been too tiring. I'm exhausted, which is why I can't come up with something new. And I try to take a break, go somewhere, explore something new. Maybe visit a place, become a tourist, try to see new cultures, watch something new. Not on Netflix, not on the things that keep us engaged but not creative. Maybe I try to look for something that can give me inspiration. Maybe I try to read a book that can give me the inspiration. I don't know. I also talk to a lot of my mentors at that time, who then maybe inspire me or guide me or involve me in something that is not too pressurizing but also stimulating enough.
Even I do the same things like you said, and I also try to interact with a lot of people, try to divert my mind somewhere. Otherwise, things just don't work forcefully. And I also actually watch a lot of movies, like watching movies and
music
obviously like helps a lot when you have a creative block. So but for me, personally, I watch a hell lot of movies.
The next question. What do you think is more valuable? Appreciation from the audience or critical acclaim?
That's hard to choose. Both are important, but I would say appreciation from the audience, because if the audience don't watch your movie, your content, then who is going to watch it? I make the kind of contents I make, and I make the kind of films I make so that I can reach out to the masses. And masses matter a lot to me. And why I made this film Oneness as a mainstream cinema, the reason is that a queer film can be made many times, but if it's not visible, if it's not seen by the people, by the masses, then the kind of message that I want to put out to the public, the people will never get that. I think audience matters a lot. Like the feedback from the audience. Critical acclaim can come in one movie and it won't come in the next movie, but it will keep going. But if there are no audience, I don't think
Absolutely, 100%. In theatre, what we say is our audience is our God. As someone who's working for the audience doesn't always respond how you want it to. They will not always perceive the things how you wanted them to. What do you do when your audience doesn't receive something the way you wanted them to receive?
I do take criticism, and I do take the feedbacks from the audience. But also, like, sometimes everybody has different perspectives and everybody has different mindsets. So not everyone is going to perceive the same way as we put out to them. So I think we just have to let go sometimes. And if we think the story is authentic and if we believe in what we are doing, then I think we just have to go with the flow. I think not everybody would, react in the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And also critical acclaim is not as important.
Not as important.
But they are also audience, right? Because they are your, let's say they're your first audience. They see the film before you, show it to the people. In terms of theatre also, they see the play one day before the audience does. They will publish the review before the audience comes into the theatre. Like, if we look at them as first audience, then their views are valuable. If we don't look at them as someone who's putting out a message for someone else. If you look at them as the audience, as a members of the audience, then I think their role would increase quite a lot.
Sure. So the next question is, what are things you cannot teach when it comes to creativity?
Okay, just yesterday I was having this discussion with a friend of mine. So we were talking about how the idea is important. Having an idea is very, very important when it comes to a creative work, right? Without the idea, you cannot go on with the execution. But the execution is the more important part. If an idea is not well executed, then the value of the idea is gone. I mean, it's not gone for the one who's making it, but the audience will not really receive it the way they're supposed to. So you can teach execution. You cannot teach ideation. You can teach people how to write. You can't tell them what to write. Like the main creativity that is there in the idea, you cannot teach. Like it has to be there in the person.
Same, I would say ideation. Like you cannot teach that to anyone, and ideation has a lot to do with how a person perceives society. His observational skills also matters a lot.
Personality matters.
Yeah, it matters, and you have to be very open to a lot of things. Your mind has to be open to a lot of things. You just can't restrict yourself, or you just can't put yourself in a box, and your mind just have to be open all the time. And I think the ideation comes from that as well, and it cannot be taught.
Absolutely. And even if there are some people whose minds are very closed, but they will ideate. They will come up with good ideas with their ideology, with their thing. But their life experiences will matter.
Yeah.
Their upbringing will matter. Their education will matter. Their thinking patterns will matter there. I cannot teach my life to you.
Yeah.
You cannot teach your life. So I think it's just that. As someone who is part of the LGBTQIA plus community, what do you think are the stories that aren't being told?
There are a lot of stories that aren't being told. If we talk only about queer films, also we are saying that we have started making queer films and all, but all these times, half of the queer films or half of the films that are, somewhat related to LGBTQ community, all of them were misrepresented. Even in India, even in Hindi films, or even in the regional cinema, or be it web series.
Even in Hollywood,
it started very recently that authentic stories, queer narratives have started coming out. So I think we still have a lot of stories that are not covered yet. I think we need more nuanced and authentic queer stories to bring out. We still have a lot of women's stories to tell also. Being a patriarchal society, we have been only seeing like male dominated cinemas, like women have been always treated as inferior and all, and times have changed. It has started changing. There are a lot of films that have been led by women, and but I still also don't agree the fact that people still call like identify these films like queer films or
exactly.
women-centric films.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of mindset should also needs to be changed, and it will only come when we keep making more and more inclusive films, and if we keep making more and more, if we keep bringing out more and more women stories and queer stories, like the nuanced ones.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Absolutely. But because there is lack of representation, we have to say female directors, we have to say queer directors or queer stories. I feel like once we have enough stories, I am tired of looking at stories of coming out and how it is hard. I'm tired of looking at that struggle again, over and over again as a queer person. I want to see representation of queer people in media as normal people. Why aren't we getting out of that zone? Coming out.
We're always being labeled.
Scared. And that person will always be the bichara, the poor thing whose parents don't accept him, or poor thing whose girlfriend left her, or because she had to get married. Like, I'm done with that. There is much more happening in queer lives now. Explore other aspects of queer lives. Why don't we explore so many aspects of straight lives?
Yeah.
So why can't we just... The characters are queer, yes. but they are going through life, right? They have work, they have other things to explore, they have hobbies, they might travel. That is what is missing in the...
Yeah. I've recently seen this film at Kashish Pride Film Festival, the opening film, The Spirit of Ecstasy. It talks about this non-binary person, who wants to break into the corporate, in the business world. And I like that kind of films, rather than only talking about coming out and,
acceptance.
Acceptance and all. Like, this kind of stories needs to come out more often. Like, why don't we talk stories about the queer people in the workplace, the queer people, leading a business or, doing well. Like, we can make a lot of films on that. And also, people need to understand that even within the queer people, there are also a lot of different sexualities there.
Yeah.
It's not just gay, lesbian, or, transgender, but there are also a lot happening there. And I think we can still explore a lot more
So much,
if we open up our minds and start looking at things more, rationally and more critically, I would say.
At queer lives as like any other lives.
We all are human beings.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of changes would you like to see in theatre or film in India? I think we have just talked about that.
We just talked quite a lot about it. Of course, queer representation, queer characters being more out there. This is my thought because I don't enjoy realism a lot. Okay? So I want more films to be non-realistic.
Oh, nice.
They will be fun, colorful, but I would enjoy seeing directors explore non-realistic storytelling. I would really enjoy that. Even in terms of queer stories, I would enjoy that.
The changes I would like to see in theatre or film in India is just like you said, queer representation. And also, when I'm talking about queer representation, I want the mainstream, big so-called, superstars to start doing queer stories.
Yeah.
Because so far we have seen only films, queer films in India that are done by actors who are not called, so-called superstars. There is Shah Rukh Khan, there is Salman Khan. Why don't they do? Because they have a mass fan following. If they start doing such kind of films, it can change the perception of the society to a certain extent, I guess. Because yes, a lot of good films have been made and it's done by a lot of great actors. But I think right now, at this point of time, I think we need the big actors, the big film directors to come out and have the courage to make such films. I think I would say that.
Absolutely. And until now, big stars and big productions have only ridiculed queer people and
the queer characters are caricaturists in their films.
Yes, absolutely. Like growing up, that was a little bit like of a pressure because if people look at us in this way, how do we survive, that sort of a thing. So like we would like representation for that very reason, so that people who are growing up right now or people who are struggling with something feel that okay, it's okay, it's not going to be hard on me if I decide to explore my sexuality or come out or
Have you seen this film called Kathal the Core? It's a South Indian film, like Malayalam film directed by Geo Baby. It was considered as one of the most beautiful films of 2023, and it stars, I want to bring up this topic because it stars one of the biggest stars of South India, Mammootty. So he's playing a gay role. If he can do that, why can't the actors in the film industry do that? Because it doesn't have to do, it doesn't have anything to do with them being a cisgender or being straight. Like, I don't know. I think they also feel like, if they start doing this kind of films, then people would perceive them in, some other way. I think they should let go of these things, these perceptions, and, start doing films. Like, what a beautiful that was.
I'll definitely watch it. Thank you so much for that. Even in theatre, it's the same problem. If there are any queer stories, they are not in the mainstream. So even in theatre, I would like the same kind of changes. What I am doing for that is I'm coming up with an organization for queer artists to come and explore different theatre styles and aspects, and for queer artists to express themselves and for queer stories to come forward. It's going to be a collective where we all of us contribute and create something new for the mainstream.
So, Antara, it was really nice talking to you. I think this is the first time we met in person also.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I know you through the things that you have been saying, you have been telling me. More power to you, and we still have a long way to go. I'm saying this again and again. Never lose hope, never lose courage. You are doing a lot of great work, and just keep doing it.
I'm very glad to have made a friend for life, I hope.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I feel the same.
I feel like we should keep talking.
We should keep talking.
Yeah. Absolutely.